Hello, a very warm welcome to all of you, wherever you might be tuning in from across the country here in the United States or elsewhere around the world, and especially those who's watching from Kenya. Happy to have you here on KDRTV show. It is 11:30 a.m. here in the United States. It's at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. And so happy to have you again on this absolutely wonderful Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, whatever you might be. Today, we're going to engage in a very good conversation here. The conversation for Kenyan friends, we're going to talk about how we bring all Kenyans in the diaspora to speak with one voice. We also welcome friends to Kenya who are also watching us. Just take a moment, the next 1 hour, to see how some of the best and brightest of Kenya engage in a discussion that is all geared towards making sure that all Kenyans in the diaspora, whether here it's in North America or other parts of the world, really get together to talk about why it's important for us as Kenyans to work and as well as those from Kenya working hard to make our country better. So today we're honored to have a number of Kenyans, elites and leaders who are representing different Kenyan groups from across the country. We're honored today to have one of our own, Attorney Laban Opande, who will be joining us live from Texas. He'll be talking to us on behalf of the Kenya U.S. Parallel Association. We also have Karen Mugai, who is also here. We'll be talking on behalf of the Kenyan women in the diaspora, Kwitu, with a group that has over 15,000 strong and very hardworking women here in the United States. We also have Dr. Rapat Shiuri, who will be joining us from Columbus, Ohio, who is also really the center for this discussion today. Later on the show, we'll bring on one of our own who has been on the show before, Professor Cherono Rotich, who also will be joining us from North Carolina. And also we're going to bring in later on the show Professor Peter Ndiangui, who will join us live from Southwest Florida. But right now, I'm going to have the honor of bringing the panelists on the show. So happy to have you on the show, guys. Thank you very much. I think the best we can do is that you all look as great as Karen.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
And because of that, and we start with the ladies in the room. Karen, if you don't mind, for our viewers, just quickly a quick introduction of who you are.
Thank you, Dr. and Bwana Shiuri for making this possible for me. I'm here standing with Kwitu. Kwitu stands for Kenyan Women in the USA. But me personally, I am the president and the CEO of Exceeding Grace today. Education-wise, I have 2 masters, masters in business administration and also masters in information system. Currently, I work with Corabri Consultant, and at the same time, I'm a pastor, and I'm a pastor of the senior pastor of the EGT, and I for Kwitu Safe Haven. Safe Haven stands for families who are going through domestic violence. And also, I'm a board member where me and Mr. Opande, we serve as board members of East African Chambers of Commerce. And thank you so much.
We're also talking about the over 15,000 wonderful Kenyan ladies here in the United States. So again, as we go further to talk more about that. So, and she's joining us from Texas. So let's go again down to Texas. Wakil Opande, introduce yourself, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Okari, for inviting us and hosting us. It's always a pleasure to be here, and especially with such distinguished panelists. I hope that it will rub off of me by the end of the show. Yes, I'm here in Houston, Texas. I'm a legal practitioner. I'm here representing a few organizations. First of all, I'm representing the Opande family household, where I am the running mate to my wife and children. But also professionally, I'm the president of the Kenya U.S. Bar Association, which is a member, a law organization of about 100 legal practitioners and legal scholars and students here in the United States of Kenyan origin. And we are growing. It's a relatively young organization, started from last year. But also, I'm also engaged in many other community organizations like the one my dear sister Karen mentioned. I'm in the board of the East African Chamber of Commerce, where I've been for the last maybe 4 or 5 years, and many other local and national organizations here in the U.S. So it's such a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to an enjoyable discussion. Thank you, Dr. Ali.
Okay, very good, very good. Thank you so much, Wakil Opanda. It's good to know that you are running mate somewhere. I think then that means that we also should be running mates in our household. I think that's important. So, and you didn't mention that you're also very good looking. That's important to note as we bring in the man who's going to be the center of the discussion today, Dr. Robert Shiuri. So, Robert, if you don't mind, please, very quickly, I know we're going to have you on the show for a long time, and I think the camera is going to focus mostly on you. If you don't mind, very quickly for our viewers, introduce yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Okari, and thank you also, Ben, in the background, and thank you for the entire Kenya Diaspora Radio TV. My name is Robert Shiuri, and I represent a number of organizations here. I represent a global diaspora One Voice consortium that brings together a number of organizations in the diaspora in the area of trying to ensure that we all speak in one voice. Again, I'm also the founder of our Global Standards Institute, an organization that is in the area of business certifications and in the area of ensuring that businesses that want to get in the global marketplace are certified on their quality and also their management systems. So again, thank you. I think we'll be talking more about our global diaspora community and where we are and how we are able to bring them together. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shiuri, but I think I want to stick with you for a moment. One, to thank you for bringing us together. I think that's important, that you are the reason as to why we're here. And also on behalf of the KDRTV and Ben, who's also working very tirelessly from behind the scenes, I want to say that we are so delighted to not just to host you, but to be part of the larger story of putting the Kenyans in the diaspora together so that we can speak with one voice, as you really alluded moments ago. So, Dr. Shiuri, if you don't mind, again, just focus on you for a moment. Explain to our viewers why it's important that we get together. What organization do you represent? What are their main objectives? And why should we really work together?
Thank you, Dr. Okari. Now, if I may just start off by saying that Global Diaspora One Voice Consortium really is brings together various organizations that are in the diaspora. As perhaps most of you know, the Kenyan diaspora started way back in the 60s when people started moving from Kenya to foreign countries, and in the process of doing that, the diaspora has been growing, but until recently, its impact towards Kenya has reached very, very high levels. As you perhaps know, right now, the Kenyan diaspora is perhaps the largest foreign exchange earner for our country. In fact, overtaking things like products like coffee, tea, and even tourism. So right now, then, the diaspora as a constituency is very, very important to the Kenyan government. And so we felt that we need to have an organization or people who are moving towards having a one voice on cross-cutting issues that affect us in all. So the vision of our organization is to be the leading organization in terms of bringing together our community to speak in one voice on cross-cutting issues that are there in our community. Again, our mission is to engage and advance and preserve and develop strategies for the welfare and development of the Kenyan diaspora. And towards that, we have set out several themes and several areas that we focus on, mainly areas of social sector, areas of economic sector, areas of governance sector, areas of health sector, areas of technological sector, and so forth. We try to embrace everything that will be able to help our community move on. And in light of that, we have a lot of consortium members, organizations that most of you may be aware of, organizations like KESA, which stands for Kenya Scholars and Studies Association, bringing together the academic community in the diaspora. We have organizations like Kwitu that you mentioned earlier that represent our women in the diaspora. In fact, a very large chunk of our women in the diaspora, and others like CASP, also bringing together other women. That stands for Kenya American Sisterhood Foundation. And then also we have Kenya National Council of Elders Diaspora. We have also the Kenya US Bar Association led by Tony Opande, and many others that I may not be able to mention in this forum, or I will mention later. But all these organizations do a lot of things. They have a lot of impact in the diaspora. They have a lot of good work that they're doing, a lot of impact that they're doing. And so we bring them all together so that we can be able to speak in one voice on matters that affect us all. And this is the strength that we gain, that we are all together as one.
And again, we can't thank you enough, really, for trying to put all these heads together. I think that's good. And I think it's a little bit long overdue. And not for us here in the diaspora, but I think even those ones in Kenya will be very delighted to know that our brothers and sisters here in the diaspora are moving towards working together to a common good, which is really our home country. So you did mention different organizations, and we're happy that some of those organizations are already on board, one of which is Kwitu, and we are happy to have Karen Muigai here. Karen, I know for sure this is important because you look at it, whichever way you want to look at it, we have a huge population of Kenyan ladies here in the US. And I think good news is that socially and economically, these ladies are doing a great job. If you don't mind, very quickly for our viewers who do not really know Kwitu very well, do you want to tell us who is Kwitu, what are your main objectives, and if you could, why do you think we should work together under one voice?
Thank you, Daktari. Those people who don't know what Kwitu stands for Kenyan Women in the USA, and this carries all American, more than almost 15,000 women that represent Kwitu, and our president is Lily Richard, and the vice is Mary Kim. In Kwitu, we have a lot of departments that make up Kwitu. We have department like we have investment department in Kwitu Inca. We have Karibu America, a department that is used if you come here, you're a woman, you're stranded, we come get you and we help you to get situated in the USA. We also have a table banking, which has been very helpful, especially this time of coronavirus. We have even helped a lot of women to put food on their table and to pay their bills through the table banking. And we have the Kwitu Safe Haven, which I lead. And this is to help women going through domestic violence. This time around, we have seen that being enlarged and a lot of cases coming up for domestic violence. And there was a time I was with Mr. Shiori and I said, what Kwitu does is not to try and separate homes. It's to try and stop domestic violence because we have a lot of issues that are happening in women here. You know, when we come here, things change. When we come here, culture or no culture, we come in a place where things change. And that has not worked well with our own people. And for that, we have had a lot of domestic violence. We have had killings. And so I had that department and I thank God for that because that is a department that has made me have all this zeal to help because no matter who you are, when you're sitting aside, you don't see it. But when you are in it, you see it in real life. And that is what I have watched. And Kwitu has helped these women. Kwitu is trying to even get a shelter and funds to help these women in case something like that happens. So it's a big group. And you ask me, why should you partner with Kwitu? Because this is a group that is moving forward to help women. It's a group that carries almost 15,000 women. It's a group that goes beyond and beneath to address issues that women have. And if you look at where we are going, we normally have a reunion every year. We didn't have it this year because of the COVID. However, we had the virtual, and the virtual was attended, where you find like all these women, thousands coming together and speaking in one voice, trying even to enrich each other, trying to come to a group whereby we buy even farms in Kenya, people to invest back home. And you see, like when Corona started, we had a program whereby people came together and bought masks for people. We supplied masks because we have state chapters, and gave it for people when the masks were not available. So you should partner with such a group so that this is a large group that can come together with you to speak in one voice if we want to change Kenya, if we want to change who we are, if we want to speak in one voice. This is the group you need to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. I like the way you speak. You know, it like reminds me of my mom. Like bring the kids together, and so that we're one thing. It's lovely to have you on, Karen. You know that's so natural, so authentic, and I'm sure the ladies at Kwitu need to know that one consortium. That's why we are here. That's why KDRTV here, and we'll try to, as best as we can, to provide a platform where we can have these views. And again, the goal is not to look at it in a negative way. The goal is to drive a positive diaspora narrative. Thank you, Karen, and thank you for Kwitu. So let me also bring in Wakili Opanda. Opanda has been on the show. He's an extremely articulate young man. Opanda, you need to know that we appreciate the wonderful job you're doing down in Texas and for the Kenyan community here. So tell our viewers what organization you represent, and as well, just like Karen, why do you think we should speak with one voice?
Thank you, Dr. Okari, and thank you for your kind comment that I'm a young man. That will take me a few more years before people realize what my true age is. But thank you for hosting me. Of course, it's always a pleasure to be here. As I mentioned before, I lead an organization called the Kenya-US Bar Association, among others. But I'll just dwell on the KUSBA, as we call ourselves, which is an organization of lawyers in America, and we are about 100 members strong. It's a relatively young organization, having started last year, 2019, and we are still getting to find other members. In fact, when we started, we never even knew that we had as many legal practitioners here in the United States. I think it's a huge component of what our community is about, the Kenyan diaspora community in the United States. Obviously, as many would anticipate, there are always going to be issues, legal issues that our members need guidance on. They're going to be communal issues, not just on an individual basis, but there would be issues that affect communities as a whole, our Kenyan community as a whole. And so it's good to have an organization like ours, to be there to either champion or to defend, whatever the case may be, those kinds of issues. Now, the Kenyan diaspora community has been growing over the years. We don't even know exactly what the numbers are, but the numbers sometimes say in the range of 300,000, some up to 500,000 Kenyans in continental US. And that's a big constituency. And so as such, it's about time that we got ourselves organized. And so when my brother, Dr. Shuri, reached out in wanting to get ourselves organized as a diaspora community, there was no hesitation, because I really felt that it's really long overdue. There has been efforts in the past to try and do the same thing. We've faltered largely because I'm assuming largely is because of geographic. We are very diverse in geographic area demographics, and the U.S. is very vast. But now is another effort, and I'm delighted that so far we've made some strides under the leadership of Dr. Shiri in trying to narrow those the vast distances between the East, West, and North and South. Largely also because we do have now technology. As I'm speaking right now, I'm in Texas. I know, Dr. Kari, you're in Minnesota, and the other panelists are elsewhere. So it has enabled that to happen. So there is no doubt that it's about time, as Dr. Shiri mentioned. The Kenyan diaspora community continues to be a formidable part of our community, but not only here in the US, but also back at home. He did mention about the Forex exchange, ANA being the top. I don't know what the numbers are this year, but they've been growing steadily. And they'll continue growing, beyond the pandemic once everything settles down. So we simply need to get ourselves organized, and there's no better way than to follow this effort that is being fronted by Dr. Chiri, and that's why we are in full support of him, both personally as well as on behalf of the Kenya-US Bar Association and other entities that I represent here in the US. So I look forward. It's an exciting moment. It's an opportunity that we cannot miss. I think we need to rally everybody to come to this effort. And in the end, I think both Kenyans here in the US as well as back at home, our families and our friends who are back at home shall be able to benefit from this effort. So I'm delighted, and as always, I'm here and I'm ready to go. So thank you again for the invite, Dr. Kari.
You're welcome, young man.
That's very. Those are very kind words, Dr. Kari. It's always good to be among these. It's always great to be among these distinguished people. And like I mentioned earlier, my hope is that it'll rub off of me, and so I'll become wiser with time.
Yes, we love it. It's love. So thank you, Laban. So I appreciate this. And again, the three of you, and I'm going to go back to now Dr. Chiori. Again, one of the reasons, and I'm so thankful to all our Kenyans in the US on behalf of my colleague Ben Kebwato, our executive producer, when we started doing this KDRTV thing was all about, yes, we have so many negatives, many challenges within our community, but we need to get to a point where we talk about the positives. And our mantra has been driving a positive diaspora narrative. And I think that's why most people across the country are so happy with what we're doing. So let's get to you. And I know you've been around here for some time, Dr. Shiori. You've seen so many challenges. There are those people who are hesitant. Maybe this is another group that may or may not go very far. What do you think are some of the challenges that we've been facing as a Kenyan community and the diaspora? And how do we overcome those challenges sooner than later so that for sure we speak as one voice?
Thank you, Dr. Okari. Now, we have many challenges. As you know, our diaspora community has for a long time looked at organizations that are coming up in a very skeptical manner, and especially if they are not delivering in the areas that have an impact to the diaspora. So what we have done, and maybe this is something that we want to continue expanding on. First of all, we started by identifying, as one voice, we started identifying people and organizations that have a very great impact in the diaspora. Organizations that are impacting the diaspora, whether in the social arena, whether in the economic arena, whether in the cultural arena, and whether even in the governance arena. And so we reached out to people, and in fact, we did out a survey that helped us know who is where and who is impacting diaspora. In fact, one of our leading projects right now is one we call the Diaspora Heroes Program. This is based on a survey that we've done since 2019, where we sent out surveys to the community in an effort to really know who is doing what and where. And we got tremendous impact. People telling us, hey, this person is doing this and that so well in our community, and all these surveys, which are all quantifiable measures of people who have done great strides in impacting the community, maybe by doing something in the social arena, helping students or helping people who are coming in as new Americans or new immigrants. So this has all done very, very well. The Diaspora Heroes program, actually, we've been running a weekly show on another radio station called Trumpet of Hope, where each week we have a diaspora hero that has been a guest in that particular station to broadcast and let the diaspora know what they are doing. So what we have done is to reach out to get people who are authentic, who are having impact on the diaspora, and getting them together. And in the process, just like a rolling stone, we have been gathering more and more impact to a point where now we are even getting recognition by our embassy in DC as one of the organizations that is trying to bring Kenyans together. So we've worked with the Deputy Mission Ambassador Gachero. We have worked with the Ambassador, His Excellency Lazarus Amayo, on a number of activities. And so we are gaining more and more reputation as an organization that is really impacting and driving the agenda of coming together. We know it is sometimes difficult to look at things that are driving us apart, but we have realized that we have so many things that bring us together. We have so many things that we are common in. There are so many things that we impact on that help us to move on as a community very well. And these are the things that are driving us in the right direction.
Thank you, Shiodi, and I think great work that you're doing. I think again, I can't emphasize how much we are so proud as KDRTV to partner with One Voice. That's important, and I always say this. And I'll say this, I think, from the beginning of the year. Yes, we have an official embassy in Washington, but quite frankly, we have over 150,000 Kenyan ambassadors here in the U.S. who wake up every day, work very hard, go to bed very hard, trying to represent the very best of Kenya. So we really need to recognize that. And so as we work with, in partnership with the Kenyan Embassy in Washington, so that we tell a good story. But some of those ambassadors are also represented here, the Kwitu. Karen, I think it's fair to say, and I think needless to go into the details of it, there are of course challenges, we understand that, but we also recognize that the Kenyan in the US, Kenyan women in the US especially, represented by over 15,000 Kenyan women here, they're very hard-working women who are doing very well socially and economically. They're not only helping raise families, but they're really representing the very best of Kenya. Yes, we have challenges. What do you think from your end are two main challenges, and how do we overcome those challenges so that we focus on the positive side, and that is telling the Kenyan story in the most positive way?
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. And I think we are in that route. So far, right now, I can tell you we are in the journey of becoming one as Kenyan. You see, when I came to this country, I remember like 20 years ago, I was very lonely. At the time, you had to belong to a church to be helped. If you had someone who died, it is either you belong to a church or you are by yourself. And that gave all power to pastors. And a lot of people were suffering, especially those people who were not going to church. But when Kwitu came and brought all these women in one umbrella, they felt belonging. Some of us did not even have sisters. Some of us did not feel like we can talk. And today we have women, they come in there, they can even just vet and just put out whatever is bothering them. Some people come and they ask a question of what can I do here? I'm going through this. And so you see, these are Kenyans. It is not a tribe. these are Kenyans. In Kwitu umbrella, it is all Kenyans. We don't even know who is who when it comes to tribe. Like, if I tell you the president picked directors from all the groups, not because you are in this tribe, but because you fit to be in there. And we have seen all the deliverables that have happened. And one thing I will tell you, bringing that organization of Kwitu has broken the bond of loneliness to many women. It has brought knowledge to many women. We have lawyers, we have doctors, we have nurses. Call it, name it. You need anything in that group, you will get it. You're lonely, you're stuck in Kenya because, like, we have seen cases whereby a woman goes back home, the passport is taken by the husband, she can't come back. And this organization steps in. They speak with the embassies. And you find out that before you know it, the lady is back here. It's a force that helps women. And with that said, this is a force that have made even being in USA feel at home. This is something that I like. There is nobody now that can say, if anything happens to you, you don't have a family, because every woman in the USA is welcomed in Kwitu and has a home in Kwitu. And that is how Kwitu operates.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Karen. I think we salute, I'm sure Dr. Shiuri, Wakil Opande, Cherono, and Yangui will agree with me that we so much appreciate what the Kenyan women here in the US are doing. And I think the more we partner together, the more we'll tell a good story and probably will minimize some of those challenges we have. The key point is if we're able to communicate and have a platform like this, some of these challenges, quite frankly, can be resolved. Now, let me bring in Wakili Opande. Let me tell you something before I bring you here. This is a land of laws, right? It's not like home country where a man really dictates what happens, but really it's a land of laws. What pains me most, and especially here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, what I do on Monday morning, sometimes I go through the county jail system, and in that the rosters, they put the names of people who've been arrested over the weekend. Let me tell you how much it pains me to see people whose last names sound like Kenyan. And further investigation shows that most of these are young people, probably make very minor mistakes just because probably they didn't understand or they didn't have somebody to guide them. And because of that, the American dream is eroded as quickly and as easily as that. So you represent the law aspect of it. And obviously, KDRTV and One Voice obviously salute all the Kenyan lawyers here in the US. Talk to us about what are your main objectives, because we really need you guys to guide our community on how we navigate through the laws of this country, and then importantly, talk as one people. So what challenge do you see, and why should we really go past that to talk as one people?
Thank you, Dr. Okari, and thank you, Karen. I've always wondered why you've not invited men to Kwitu, but I think Brother Kamnao has started the male version of it, so maybe we'll partner in somehow. But to answer your question, Dr. Okari, yes, this country is a country of laws. Not to say that any other country is not a country of laws. It's just that here the laws are more strictly followed. The legal system is very pragmatic. You do a mistake and it follows you. And a lot of times, people who come here when they're new, in that realm of trying to absorb the new culture, to understand the new culture, whereby someone thinks that, if they make a mistake, they can sort of talk to the officer, the police officer, maybe give him something small on the side and your problem goes away. It's not. Here, it's very, very strict. And a lot of times, that becomes, for a lot of young people when they come, that becomes the starting point of going down the road, down the drain, if they're not properly guided, if they're not properly counseled, so that they can learn quickly and get back on track. There have been many cases, as you noted, where in many cities, not just in your city, but everywhere across the United States, our people are getting into those problems. And we're not trying to be judgmental to them, because we all know that every one of us is just one poor judgment away from being a criminal. or adults, or even further, many of us are criminals. It's just that we haven't been caught. So the problem is when these young people don't have the guidance, when they don't fall to the right hands when they arrive here, and things just they get swayed either by their youthfulness, the wanting to be mischievous or the like, then they find themselves going the wrong way. So as KUSBA, what we are trying to do, first of all, of course, is to bring all the lawyers together. We built a very good network. We have a database of lawyers, like I mentioned, about 100 of us. And so many times when someone has an issue in a certain area, we're able to share. We can refer and we can say, if someone calls me and you call me from New York and I cannot be there, then I can always say, hey, this is a contact. You can reach out to somebody in New York within your area and they can be of help. If there's none of our members who is there, who are a KUSBA member, then we're also able to make referrals depending on who we know within those geographic areas. So that's one point that KUSBA tries to do. The other thing that we try to do is we have quite a few of Kenyan law students in the United States. A lot of times these law students, they want to find a place to do an internship. They want to find a place where to start their careers. They want to find somebody who can be a referee, a reference for whatever it is they're doing, either on their papers or on their internship. So KUSBA is there, and we have amongst ourselves quite a few students from Kenya who have both come for undergraduate as well as graduate programs in law, LLM programs. And we guide them. So they become part of us, and we help them to navigate on how to finish their program as well as how to get started in their careers. In addition to that, we have advocating for seminars and workshops within our various communities where our members reside. So through the churches, through the local organizations, we hold workshops and seminars where we teach the community. We share with them some of the conversations we're having right now in terms of what to do and what not to do within those areas. And I think it helps because these members, these community members, are easily able to identify with me or with a fellow Kenyan simply because they feel that if this person is telling me and they're here, they really truly understand me. A lot of times the system can be very cruel. If you find somebody who doesn't understand your background or your where you're coming from, then they may not be very kind or patient to try and understand and listen to what you have to say or why you did what you did. And so these workshops help to educate our communities in various places. And then we also work with other organizations and institutions. Dr. Chiri mentioned working with the with the Kenyan embassy in the US, and whom we have also been working with as KUSBA. Specifically, we have recently, as some of you may know, or if you don't know, Kenya is negotiating a trade agreement with the US. That was initiated by President Uhuru and President Trump, I think last year or the year before. And KUSBA has been at the forefront trying to help in whichever capacity that is available to navigate through that process, in drafting that agreement, in educating the community, in educating other partners and stakeholders in the process of going through that free trade area agreement. It's still ongoing. We don't know right now how it shall progress, of course, with the new administration coming in, but the hope is that it shall continue. And if it does, then we shall still continue to be at the forefront to advocate for Kenyans both here in the diaspora as well as back in Kenya. So there's a lot that we partner with, that we do as KUSBA, and it's always a delight to work with other institutions and stakeholders. And of course, with your station, Dr. Okari, because the media is also a very critical component in sharing this information to our viewers, our members. In fact, it is sometimes the lack of a media platform that people don't know. People simply don't know because they don't even know where to get the information or who is around or who is available. So I want to commend you for availing this platform that our community is able to get the information that they need. Thank you.
Thank you, Wakili, and I think that's you really. And I said, young men, very articulate. You really you do that well, and our nation and community obviously is very proud of what you're doing. And honestly, I say this with a lot of passion. We really need you guys, particularly the lawyers. I know my good friend, your good friend as well, Wakil Ongeri here in Minneapolis, and Peter Omari are doing a great job trying to educate our community. But we do really need the lawyers, because some of the mistakes that our people really have made and ended up in jail or destroying the American dream are really very easy mistakes that should be avoided by all means, really. But we really need you. In a moment, I'll bring in Professor Cherono and Professor Ndiangui standing by. But Karen, quickly, Wakil Opande did ask you a quick question there. Do you at Kwitu would you like to have men in that group?
We love our men. Listen, Daktari, we love our men, but no.
Okay, please.
We love you guys, but no.
Okay, your thoughts, Shuri. Would you like to see Kwitu bring in men, or you're good with that? Oh, it's okay. Peter didn't get me that.
Yeah,
but that's okay.
I didn't get exactly your question, but I think okay. Yeah, so I think we are glad to have Kwitu in our organization. We are glad to also have CASP. They're all women-based organization, but we also have Kemen, Kenya Men organization led by Anthony Kamnao, who's on Is in One Voice.
I wanted you to say men really have to do that. But at the end of the day, we need a platform like this where we iron out those differences so that we tell our story. Viewers, the key point is that whatever organization you belong to is okay. But in as long as what is we are seeing on the screen right now, you see Professor Cherono from North Carolina. She's come on the show wearing that Kenyan flag. That is exactly what we need, the pride of our nation. I'm sure. I think I also have something Kenyan here, Professor Cherono, right? Only that, let's see if we have this. Okay, oh, good. Professor Ndiangui has that, with the exception of Shiuri. But Shiuri is also dressed very nicely in Kenyan attire. I think it's good to say for all our sisters, the Kenyans in the diaspora, come this December 12th, let's all dress in something Kenyan to represent the very best of Kenya. And with that said, happy to welcome on the show once more time Professor Cherono, joining us from North Carolina, and also the respected, my father to say so, Professor Peter Ndiangui, joining North Carolina and Ohio, and we're here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So let's begin with you, Professor Cherono. For our viewers, I'm sure you've been on the show before, but quickly introduce yourself and the organization you represent.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I want to thank my sister, Karen. Yes, I am a member of Kwitu, and I think we're good. We just want to have our girls talk, so let's keep it the way it is. We love our men, but we'll stay there. I also want to thank my colleague, Professor Wakili Opande, for what he shared. He actually taught me to tattoo the name of the lawyer on my hand, so I surely do have that. As a way of introduction, I am Jirona Rotich. I am in Greensboro, North Carolina. I work at North Carolina Central in Durham as a professor and department chair. I am a very, very proud mother of two beautiful girls. That's why I work with youth and women, because I've been inspired by the journey with my girls. I also represent UNESCO. I am a commissioner for research and publication focusing on traditional sports and games in UNESCO. And the main purpose of that initiative is to really promote traditional sports and games for health, and more importantly, for peace. We've seen the concept of sports bringing people together, so that is what we're trying to promote at UNESCO. Again, I'm one of 5 commissioners worldwide, and I represent the United States of America. I am also the founder and president of Warrior, that is Women and Youth Empowerment. That is an organization that is registered in the state of North Carolina that really focuses on women empowerment and youth, where we network, we share resources, we share ideas together just to promote our welfare and our success. I also recently founded, actually last year, I founded the KSID, Kenyan Students in Diaspora, because there was a big gap. We have all these organizations. And coming here myself as a student and working at the university as a department chair and as a professor, I witnessed the challenges that our students encounter every day. So I was really inspired to pay forward and to pay back by creating that organization that would be a framework and opportunity for young people to share ideas and to mentor and to support them, because I've been there, done that. I know what it can feel like. I'm also the current president of KESA, Kenya Scholars and Studies Association, that brings together scholars and studies that are related to Kenya. So it's not just Kenyans, but it is Kenyan scholars and students and studies associated with Kenya. We bring together scholars, almost 500 scholars from different parts of this world. So if you have not joined KESA, you are missing out. We have forums every fourth Thursday of the month in the evening. So I also represent KCFA, Kenya Christian Fellowship, where I serve as a deputy director for the Promised Generation. That is a young people. That is a group ages between 18 and 35. Again, that is a group that falls within the college, that falls, my girls falls within that group. But that is a group that, those are our leaders for tomorrow. So I work very closely with the KCFA leadership to empower our young people. And then I also serve on the Kenya Diaspora Alliance USA chapter board. And then lastly, I serve on the Catch Foundation. This is a foundation that is out of Houston. And it's actually a very interesting and unique foundation because we work with the Kenyan government, Kenya Institute of Education, and the Kenya Ministry of Education to develop, to enhance, and to incorporate health into the curriculum. So I work with this group of diasporas as well as a board from Kenya to incorporate health and exercise into the Kenyan curriculum. So again, if you look at my journey, my work has been around youth and women. And of course, as a woman, as a proud mother, I am blessed to be here today. Thank you again, Diaspora One Voice, for bringing us together and for giving me this opportunity to be part of this great group where I am blessed to pay forward and to pay back. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Cherono. You have no idea how much you raised the Kenyan flag so high. We are so proud of you, not just KDRTV, but I'm sure for those of us who know you, as a country, as Kenya diasporas here in the US, so proud of you. And when I talk to my daughters, I always say, look at Cherono, that's the way I want you to be. You go beyond that, and we need our Kenyan sisters to do the same, as well as the boys, because we need those son-in-laws in the future. So proud of you, Professor Cherono. Good to have you. So let's go down now to southwest side of Florida and bring in Professor Peter Ndiangui. Professor, you know how much I respect you. Every single word you use, I just see that as coming from my dad. You're a wonderful and inspirational person to our community. Happy to have you on the show. And for viewers, do you mind introducing yourself quickly, please?
Thank you so much, Jeremiah Okari. I'm honored by those words. It's just so beautiful coming from you. For those who don't know me, my name is Peter Ndiangui. I teach at a school called Florida Gulf Coast University. It is located in Southwest Florida, as you rightly said, in a city called Fort Myers. I am in the College of Education, and that is primarily what I do. I'm also a proud husband to my wife Priscilla, a nurse practitioner, and I've got my kids here also with me. They're in the college and will live with me, and we are also very proud to have them there. I am the president of the African Network of Southwest Florida. It's an organization that brings people who live in this side of the world together unlike many other places where there are a lot of Kenyans, when we were coming together, we realized you're not that many. But if you teamed up with the people from Nigeria and Ghana and South Africa and Egypt and everywhere else in Africa, we become a stronger voice. And so that is the group I read. I also share the Mayor's Diversity the Inclusion Advisory Committee. Actually, it's the Mayor's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Advisory Committee in the city of Fort Myers. I'm also an advisor in the school district, Lee County School District, and that is what we do. And among other things, and we'll talk about that, I do a lot of business in this part of the world, and I do enjoy that part too when I'm not teaching and when I'm not doing what I do. But it's an honor to be in KDRTV. We are so honored to be here, and I'm sure you have other questions. Originally, if you get my accent, I've been here for 22 years now. It has remained. It's an accent from Madakwaini village in Nyeri, and I proudly uphold it, and I'm honored by the village that brought me up. And for people of Madakwaini who are watching, I know they're here. Thank you for bringing your son. I remember you. I love you. This is for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dad. Right. So it's good to have you in a moment. And like I said in the intro, we're going to put, Shiori, want to put you on the camera for a reason. Because yes, Professor Cherono and Professor Ndiangui represent those organizations, but at the end of the day, what we need to do is to speak as one people with one voice. So before I get to the two of them in a moment, very quickly in 1 minute, Shiori, how do you see Professor Cherono's organization and Professor Ndiangui's organization, what part do they play in one voice?
Thank you, Jeremiah. The two organizations and many organizations that Professor Cherono leads, give a lot of weight to our one voice. As she mentioned earlier, she handles issues around the students, the scholarly community, and also culture and sports. So these are areas that have a diverse impact in our diaspora. And I must tell you, Jeremiah, these are things that we see in our everyday life. Perhaps students that are struggling, students that are facing certain challenges here in the diaspora. So KSID, the organization that Professor Cherono started, is going out to really fill a gap that is really needed. And so we welcome that very, very much. The KESA as a scholarly community is another arm of our organization that the diaspora needs, because again, this organization continues to get the scholarly community to improve and integrate, and also continue to be a platform of continuing education and learning. So this is very, very important. And recently, we've even started going out to even getting new members to join KESA, so that it is more of a forum now of not just the scholarly community, but people who are out there as practitioners in the field that can be able to help KESA move on very, very well. So that, again, is a very, very good ground for development. Again, organizations like WOYO that Professor leads, bringing the youth and women together, and also culture and sports. These are areas that are very, very integral in our growth here, because as we all know, culture is the central theme of everything. Our cultural heritage has to continue being integrated in us, and so we need that forum where we are bringing all that together. In fact, areas of sports, as you very well know, Kenya is a leading sports giant, is actually a superpower in sports. So we cannot even say more than just say that we need to continue upholding our sportsmen and sportswomen, and sports in general being a very, very key area. We continue to integrate it. Areas that Professor Ndiangui brings in through Africa Network are also very, very crucial, because this again is a network that brings together the African diaspora, not just Kenyan, but from other countries. and the many things that they're doing in that network, bringing them together so that again, as one voice, we have a connection to our African brothers, not just those that are in Africa, but even our own Black American brothers here and sisters who recognize Africa as the country of their descendants. And so this organization then brings us together in terms of even those who are not necessarily Kenyan diaspora. And again, Professor Ndiangui being within the Mayor's Council as a lead of the diversity, that again opens doors to other people who may be able to support our One Voice venture in many ways.
Shuri, I brought you into just because you are the center of this, so I want to make sure that the two of them see how valuable the organizations are to the cause. And so then now we're going to hear that from the hosts themselves. And I think, again, as we talk about this, let's all recognize that so many other community organizations, Kenyan community organizations here in the U.S., just because they're not on the show today does not mean that they're not part of the story. They are part of the story. Maybe in the future events we will try to make sure that we have them. I know, for example, here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, we have the Amoy group, a wonderful group that does great work for the women. We also have Mwenyegetinga organization, and their leadership is really watching the show right now. There's also the GOTEP, the Kalenjin group, the Kamba community. We also have the Luo community. All those organizations here in the Twin Cities do a great job for us. I'm sure in the course of time, we're going to bring them on. So to you again, Professor Cherono, so you do a great job. Needless to go deep into that, why do you think really at this point in our history as Kenyans in the diaspora, why do you think we should really work and speak in one voice, or with one voice?
Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Okari, and just for your information, not GOTAP. It is a GOTAPCA Foundation that is in the Kalenjin community, and actually one of the founders. I actually hosted the first meeting here in Greensboro, North Carolina, so I'm very part and parcel of that. But I think the key thing is, it is important for us to speak as one voice. When we say that, we understand, of course, we are not saying we want to come together, because we embrace or we acknowledge the fact that we have so many Kenyan organizations that serve very unique needs. So we embrace that diversity. We appreciate the fact that we have all these organizations from the regional groups, on the different focus. We appreciate and we acknowledge that, and because there is a need for those organizations. So when we say speaking as one voice, we just want to come together to create synergy, because I think when we come together and speak with one voice, we have that collective force around our national concerns. So we want to come together around those different issues so that we can speak one voice, so that we can get the support for one another. So when we come together, as we embrace our differences and our uniqueness, and as we value those, we also create synergy. We create synergy. We leverage our resources and and together we can do so many things. I'm going to give you a very good example with KESID. So KESID, again, like I said, I started it 2 years ago. We have different platforms. We have a WhatsApp. We have actually 2 WhatsApp groups. We have Telegram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. But what happened was, when COVID hit, there was a need. So we stepped together. We came together as a community, and we understood and we spoke one voice. And we put our minds and resources together and our ideas together. And I want to thank each and every one of you. Actually, every one of you is on this board was part of that. Dr. Ndiongui, Dr. Shiuri, Mr. Opande, Lily of Kwitu, we all came together and actually raised money. There was another group that raised money, Kenyans, during COVID. So we came together, and we knew that we realized that there was a need. So we raised money together to support our brothers and sisters who are struggling during this time. Some of us are more blessed, and there's some of us who are just unfortunate that things hit so bad and they needed something. And one of those groups was our students. So we came together as one voice, and we raised money, and we were able to support 40 students. So I want to thank you. That's a very good example where I didn't know Ndiangui, but I met Ndiangui, I met Shuri, and we came together. Each and every one of you who is in this forum contributed and supported, and I thank you with all my heart. So when we do things like that, our young people realize that they appreciate it. And these are international students who could not go back home. They could not continue with their on campus jobs because, of course, the campus is closed and that was their only source of income. So when we do things like that, we're actually mentoring. So our young people appreciate it and they realized, wow, there is a Kenyan community that appreciates us. I remember getting a call from 2 students. One was from Gambia and one was from Ghana. And she said, oh my goodness, I wish my people would do that. She says, can you extend your services to our community? I said, unfortunately, because it's the Kenyan community, this is only for Kenyan students. But I told them I could mentor you. So they actually called me and they said, I wish my community, my other countries would do the same thing because we are struggling. So when we come together as one voice, we communicate consistently. So I'm not about here to take somebody's job, but I'm saying, yes, Wakili Opande, for example, during that time, we had a lot, there were issues with immigration and we all struggled with that. I'm not perfect. So I have his number right here with me. And when I needed a call, so we all needed one another. Wakili Opande came and talked to the students about the immigration challenges when they were going through all these policies. Dr. My good friend here, my brother, Dr. Ndiangui, that's when we found out that his university, and for those who do not know, please listen carefully. And Florida Gulf Coast is one of those universities where students from African descent can pay in-state tuition. I actually found out about 3 more universities where students can actually pay in-state tuition. And then we found out about some more services in North Carolina where we call the Promise system, where students pay lower tuition. So when we come together, we bring together our resources, our ideas, we leverage those ideas to support our young people. Our young people are the leaders of our organizations. Dr. Okari, you're not going to be here forever to run this TV station. We need our young people to do that. So I don't know where you are. The same thing, Kwitu. We're getting old, but we need to mentor our young people so that they can continue to run these organizations. They can continue to send the money to Kenya. We talk about remittance in Kenya. Trust me and you. I don't know how I'm going to convince my children to send money to Kenya. If we don't embrace them and mentor them and support them, then we're going to lose that part of the remittance going, because this young generation, their focus is very different. But unless we come together to address those concerns collectively as a voice, so when we come together, we create that momentum. But again, remember that wherever you are, we respect your uniqueness. We are not saying your organization continues to do that, but there are things that we can share together and say, hey, there are some resources here that we can share. I'm a proud member of Kwitu. That does not take away from anything. In fact, the other day, there was a post that was shared in Kwitu. And there was a student, an international student who needed help. So I reached out to Lily. I said, Lily knows my number. I said, Lily, give that student my cell number. The student called me. It was a big Kwitu, but I found out that that student was not even just an international student, but she was from my area. So I was able to help the student. So that is how we create those resources and we share together. But the key thing is to support our people, to support our community, to build ourselves, to build our nation, and to build Kenya. Thank you.
Appreciate you. I think that's incredible. And as you speak, as a professor as well, I can't help but tell you one thing that I've known over the years, at least the last 10 plus years that I've been teaching in colleges here. Luckily, I have the privilege of teaching pretty much every level of education, whether it's undergraduate and graduate. One thing that I've had consistently from my colleagues is that Kenyan students are very smart. That's a given fact. That's a given fact. And as I bring you in, Professor Ndiangui, it's important to also underscore the fact almost 96% of Kenyans who come to the U.S. at least are very well educated, at least on high school diploma, which places uniquely in a very good position to do well academically. And the reason as to why some, for some reason, really derail is some of the simple challenges that Wakil Opande was talking about, that if we come together, we can surely get this resolved, and then we build a strong future for Kenyan diaspora community, as Professor Jerome is saying. So to you, again, like I said in the intro there, Professor Ndiangui, I take it very seriously. if you look at the history of our nation, right? Yes, of course, there are different tribes. That's obvious. It's given in every society. But one thing is for sure, all of us as Kenyans here, we came as one people from the same background, and we have a responsibility of really representing the very best of Kenya. With respect for all those organizations, why do you think we should really, at this point in our history, work together?
Thank you, Jeremiah. There is something you even said it on air that you are my son. I feel honored about that. I want to say why. Because we come from very different tribes, different ethnic groups, but I seriously take that seriously because as we talk together like I feel that that's the way we are. When I work with Professor Gelono, we are a team with Professor Pade or Professor Shuli. We don't care where anybody comes from, and that is as it should be. I think the politicians and some cultural barriers have held us back so much to see yourself as a Kikuyu, as a Kisi, as a Kalenjin, as this. That's a lot of foolishness. We must stop it. We are together. We are all Kenyans. And even here, as we reach out to the African network, they are my children. We are all together. So we must first of all kill that nonsense and appreciate that together we will win more, that together we will succeed and build one another. I love being in the Kessid, the Kenyan students, and I was so honored, and I'm glad that Professor Jerome is here with me, that we are able to help kids. We don't care where they come from, and these days now they call me, they want advice, they want some assistance, and we can give, I direct them to who they can, if I don't know something, who can help them. And those children don't even care. Some are from the coast, some are from Nyanza, some are from Kisi, some are from everywhere. They all need us, and we need them too. We need one another. And politicians, if you are listening, and anybody, please, 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 there's no room anymore for that nonsense of tribal backgrounds. That's one thing I'm very passionate about to say. I am a proud Kenyan, not necessarily anything else. And I'm glad about my accent. I was born, we were all born somewhere, but we are together. Robert Shuley talked about even working together with African Americans. We need to. We have the same issues. When the policeman stops you, he doesn't first of all check whether you are Kenyan or whether you're born here. Wherever. We are all black. We are together. And even working with those other talk. Now, the thing I want us to address much more here is we came here for a purpose. We came here, whatever reason brought you here, maybe education, to look for wealth, to look for a better life. We've traveled far and wide. The thing I would like to say is, if you get it, lift other people. There's a book I like to read, I like to show it. It is here. It's called Never Eat Alone. In fact, by sharing what you have, you generate more wealth. When those young people become better, as Jelona talked about, and the other people, we are better off together. When your people have it, you have it. And it is good. All communities we know which have developed because they have built one another. And we must be there to build one another. Those children, Geronda talked about Florida Gulf Coast University. I'm so honored to be there. But I want to make a correction here. It's not automatic that you get the institution. But the leadership in this university has been very supportive to the African students, particularly those from poor backgrounds. But one thing, they must maintain good grades. And as African Network, we monitor their grades, and they are probably, like you said, Jeremiah, they're probably the most progressive, the best GPAs. They have them, but they know the challenges, and they know on the other end there's a community behind them. They know they are accountable to us, and then on the other end we are accountable to deal with their issues. Some of these children, when that COVID hit, they could not even be able to rent apartments. They could not. We found communities here. There are some staying with the other families, and those families appreciate them because they're very nice kids. They do work very hard. They have been given accommodation and food and other needs, and even their fees is paid. We do. I love my president in the university here. I love the provost. I love the leadership in my college because that leadership enables those children. And they tell me, just make sure that your children are working hard and make sure they don't get involved in that other nonsense of other drugs and stuff like that. But the children work because they know. People turn to those things sometimes when they have nowhere else to go, when they are desperate. But they need the community. We all need one another. We all need one another. There's something you say, you are like my son Jeremiah. I learn a lot from you. My friend, what you do here. By teaming up with Robert. Laban, who is like my lawyer, just advise sometimes. Yolanda, we work together, and sometimes she makes me cry for the work she puts in. I am just so proud. All those communities. Yes, Colin, there's room for women to do their own thing alone. Yes, come now, there's room for men. But bottom line is, we all come together at the end. It's room to have Kwitu with ladies alone. It's room to have Kemen with men alone. But we all must build one another. As Karen said at the beginning, we are not there to destroy. Women are not there to destroy family. They are working and trying to help one, and the same thing with men. Thank you, Jeremiah. I think we together, and what we have there, Robert, what you started, and what working in this partnership with KDRTV will make a better country. Once again, now let me finish with this. Let's stop seeing each other as anything else. In fact, I want to say the other day, Kipchumba went to my village and married my niece. Now, what am I going to say about that? I said it was Gerona who sent him there, but that's okay. I know he's listening, and I'm proud that he's my son-in-law now. You know, thank you.
I know, Professor Cherono, you are an emotional person, but when you check that note there from MK Consultants, Professor Cherono is super proud of the work you do. Many hearts with deep roots. So you see, the nation is so proud of what you do and what you represent here in the United States. So the same question I had for the other panelists in the other segment. Of course, we recognize that this time that there are different challenges, and that's why, or there's uniqueness for all these other organizations coming into place. But what are the two challenges you see? And not just focus on the challenges, how do we overcome some of those challenges or fears, if you will, so that from here going forward, we get together, just as Professor Dr. Shiuri is working so hard to put us together? Professor Cherono?
Yeah, good. I wasn't sure if it was me. Yes. I think one of the challenges, like you said, is the lack of support and the unity. If we can work together and really realize that when you do better, then I do well. You know, I remember one of the students, and this really touched me, when we were raising money for the students to support our young students. You know, there were students who were calling me, they didn't have a place to stay, they didn't have food. And so there were real serious needs. But the response was a little low. The response was not as much as we'd have loved to have more, but it was okay. We appreciated what we got. So one of the young students, the Kenyan American students, called me. Actually, 4 young men called me, and they scheduled a meeting with me. They said, Professor Gerono, I don't understand. Help me to understand the concept of the Kenyan community. Now, we have a big need here. We are not asking for a lot of money. We're just saying, give us $50, $100 a year to support a student who does not have food. Not because they do not want, but because of what just happened, and because the laws, there are no jobs out there and they can't go back home. So they said, why is it so difficult for Kenyans to support a student to get food? But when it comes to a wedding or a funeral, they would have raised 100,000 in one day. And it was actually that, but we waste a lot of money when it comes to weddings and funerals. We're very good. But when it comes to helping somebody to do better, we don't do a good job with that. So I didn't have an answer for young people. And actually, they really inspired me. Those 4 young men, they are like my children, Kenyan American students. They went together and they gave $400. They said, we want to be different. We want to help our young people moving forward. This is the generation. So I think some of the things is we look at that and say, oh, this is so-and-so's organization. This is so-and-so's program. This is your TV program. That is not what it is. Personally, I have nothing like that in my heart. That's why I work with all these organizations. I work with everybody because I see a need, and I see that if I can jump in and help, even if it's one person at a time. So I think as a Kenyan community, we can think about others, I think we'll go a long way. One of the organizations, the things that I do here, like I said, I do a lot of things. I've been doing employee orientations for the YMCA corporate office in North Carolina for the last 10 years. I have the key to their corporate office. Sometimes I'm like, why do these people trust me so much? But when I walk into that office to train those new employees, the first thing that you see at the YMCA is God first, others second, me third. But I think sometimes as human beings, it's me, myself, and me, and then everybody else. So if we can really look beyond that and say, hey, now I'm going to preach. It's Sunday. We are here for a very short period. We're here temporary. Why don't you, what is it going to take? It's not going to kill you to help somebody to get to the next step. So I wish we could do more in terms of supporting one another, mentoring one another, sharing information, sharing resources, because I think when we do that, we can really do better. I'm going to read a quote here that was shared by a very good, actually, she's a chancellor of East Carolina University. And this was a keynote speech that she gave 2 weeks ago. I'm part of the Bridges. Bridges is a leadership program for women in higher education. And this is what she shared. She says, do not burn the bridge before you cross over. Do not burn the bridge behind you. Do not forget the bridge that brought you here. My dear Kenyans, what bridge brought you here? What is that bridge that brought you here? That is why you're here. Extend. What is it going to extend that bridge to a young person, to somebody else, to a dear brother and sister? Because together we will succeed. Do not be afraid of crossing bridges. There's so many bridges that can be scary, but with you, my brother Okare, with you, my brother Diangui, with you, my brother Shuri, I can cross that bridge because I know you're holding my hand. You're praying for me. You're supporting me. If I fall from that bridge, you're going to pull me. My brothers and sisters, why can't we support one another to cross the many bridges in life? And the last one is, if they did not give you a seat at the table, bring your own folding chair. My dear Kenyans, everyone has to sit at the table at the one voice. And if we don't, bring your own folding chair, and finally you will be at the table. Thank you so much.
The panelists we had here, I think that's what Professor Otiso was telling us here. If you're not on the table, then you're on the menu. And I think that's important to say, to underscore that if we're in this country, if we are not part of the larger conversation, unfortunately, we'll be either salad or coffee, whatever that is. Now, it's okay. I'm going to bring you again in a moment before I get to Dr. Shuri, Professor Ndiangui. There are differences. And I think even with coronavirus, and I've always said on the show, despite the challenges, I think we also developed a new norm of living. That's for fact. And I think KDRTV actually came into place largely because of the coronavirus. And thanks to technology, we're now able to connect. And I think if you look at Dr. Jacqueline Nyaberi there, she's a senior professor at Jomo Kenyatta University in Nairobi, Kenya. And she's a keen follower of what we're doing here in the US. So thanks to technology, we are now very interconnected around the world. And people are watching this. To you, Professor Ndiangui, yes, you highlighted a key point that I've always said here. If we're going to go further, I think we need to put politicians aside. I think those times when we used to be lectured by politicians, sometimes who have no vision at all, I think that should be a matter of history. And I think as we go forward, even the politicians who come to visit this country, I think they should really come here with a reason. I think we should be able to hold them accountable for all that they're spending on behalf of our nation. And when they're here, really they should represent the very best of our nation. So to you again, Professor Ndiangui, how do we overcome some of those challenges so that going forward, we rally behind what Dr. Shuri is doing?
First of all, we are doing it by coming together like we are doing right now. That is what is needed, Brother Jeremiah. If there's anything we can say good, because there's nothing really good about the COVID, but somehow this technology became more popular and now we are able to converse. And we are coming to reach out, seeing each other much more. We are listening to one another a lot more. And I think as we move on like this, regardless of where we are, even in Kenya, whether in different parts of the United States, we are able to get together and feel that we have the same interests, same needs. And once again, together we will win more. I wanted to say this about the wealth. We all came, wherever you traveled, even if you came from Malakwena and went to Nairobi or wherever you came from, wherever you went, you are looking for wealth. You are looking for a better life. The United States has a lot of wealth, but we have to look for it. First of all, ethically, we have to look for it. And as I said earlier on, when you get something, share with others. There is always something beautiful about sharing. Wealth in material being is good. But as noted before, Carl and other people, It is not there to destroy the family, because what has happened sometimes is one member of the family advances a little bit more, and then that difference becomes a difference of destruction of the home. We must remember that whereas material things are important and it's good to have them, and actually, yes, man can buy some things that bring happiness. Itself, it cannot create happiness. There are more important things. Bob Marley said, some people are so poor that all they have is money. If that's all you have, forget. Things like love, things like the family, things like peace for yourself. If that money is not bringing you those values, it's not important. But you can build it up. We can help one another to overcome the challenges that we face. Let's share what we have. Let's inform one another. In different panels, I want to TV or other forums, please invite people who have succeeded in some areas to share their journey so that others can learn. And that's what we do here. Even in cases when we're with Gerono and Shuli and other people, we try to tell young people the struggles we went through so that they also can, they too can overcome. Sometimes that suffering builds some endurance in ourselves and we can go on. There are challenges we do have. My accent, every now and then, oh, what did you say? What did you say? But that doesn't matter. We must be proud of who we are. If someone wants to repeat what you said, yes. If you have to write it down, do it. You also don't hear what they are saying. There are other people, whether you like it or not. Racism is still very paramount here. We have seen it with the Black Lives Matter. We also experience it. But together we will overcome. Together we will do it. And I'm just so proud to work with you and work with John Robert and Robin and all the other people that we work with, that we overcome challenges. You can't do it alone. Life alone is difficult. Life alone brings a lot more, increases challenges. But together, and please protect the areas that matter most. Your home. It's your primary home. Create happiness. Don't get the money destroyed. Because sometimes you get the wealth and they are going taga-taga, they are doing some other stuff. Please respect the areas that bring you happiness, bring you true wealth, bring you true joy, bring you love. And that way you enjoy, work with your family. Thank you.
As we come to the end, I'm going to bring the other panelists in a moment here. As you speak, sorry. As you speak, it reminds me of where we came from, and we are talking about Arambe, the Arambe spirit. I think, Ben, there's a lag behind, there's a lag behind we work on the technical part of it. So that spirit of Arambe, trying to pull people together, I think it's what pretty much we are doing here. I think those days when we used to sing Arambe Nanyayo, Mimi Nanya, keep and see. I don't remember the exact song, but those songs is pretty much.
No, you're doing very well.
Really? Oh, thank you. So let me bring you in, Dr. Shiori, before we finish. I think the camera will be focused on you today, and this is why we are here. Yes, there's this discussion, and I'm so thankful to all the panelists and the organizations that you represent, that at this point, we are really talking about getting together. And I think that's a message we send to the embassy in Washington, that at this point, we need to pull together. I think the message we send to the capital Nairobi is that we here, the diaspora, especially in North America, we are really in agreement that we really need to work together. But I want to bring you in, Dr. Shiori. Going forward, how do we move forward?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Okari. Thank you, my co-panelists, and also thank you all the members of One Voice. We are many, we are together, we are stronger, and we are going to go far. Thank you, KDRTV, for being our media partner, together with others, to continue championing this area of our being together. As all the panelists have mentioned, areas around our social sector, education, culture, sports, and all the things around that, we are together. We are working together on that. Issues around governance, as Attorney Opande talked about, and how we are moving together on free trade area agreements and things that we can work together with our embassy here to improve not just the diaspora community, but even our Kenyans back home. These are very, very crucial to us. Dr. Diengoi hinted about our coming together and leveraging our economic well-being, so that we can be able to be better people. in what we are doing. Karen talked about the challenges that the diaspora continues to have, and how we can be able to be together as a family unit. It's not just Kwitu, it's not just Kemen, but they come together as one voice. We talked about sometimes back even having a forum talking about domestic violence. Domestic violence knows men or women. It is all together. So we had this conference, and we did it within one voice. And I tell you, we had so many good resolutions that actually we have shared with our embassy. And this is information that is going to go, regionally and across the globe, on things that men and women, when they come together, they can be able to resolve around domestic violence. And then we had Karen also mentioned about the safe haven that they're doing under Kwitu, and how it helps women get get their lives back if is an issue. So this is a model that we want to continue working on under One Voice, to see how best we can be able to help not just women, but even men who are going through issues. So under One Voice, we have many platforms. And I think moving on, we are going to get even more people who are attracted to this idea that we are not telling you to stop what you're doing as an organization. We are just asking you to see the common things that we have, that we can be able to work together with, so that we can be able to move well in. I even mentioned, I think I mentioned earlier, that we also have a Kenya Diaspora Alliance that is based there in Minnesota. It's part of our One Voice. And again, we have even others like Council of Elders that brings together many people that are elders within our community, to see how we can be able to resolve issues and problems that are there in the diaspora. We have others that focus on health and insurance that are part of One Voice. Again, to look at areas where our people can get more information about helping themselves in become healthier and lead more better lifestyles. So we have organizations within us that continue to champion how to improve not just the individual, but our community as a whole. Because we know, as the sea rises, everything in it rises. So that way we can be able to rise all together as one. And this is what is going to continue helping us in the diaspora. We know we have many challenges, but if we put aside those challenges, we'll only see opportunities, we'll only see growth, we'll only see a better community in us. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Shuli. In a moment, we'll bring Dr. Shuli in a moment to make a closing statement as we finish. And I want to underscore, thank our viewers who are watching us right now. And as we talk about this, we're not just talking about the organizations, but also talking about individual Kenyans. And I can for sure tell you, the Kenyans here in Minnesota, especially within the Twin Cities, St. Paul, Minneapolis area, I think increasingly we are very, very united. That I can tell you for a fact. I think in the last 1 year, more than ever, I have seen a kind of unity that I haven't seen over the last 20 years that I've lived here in the Twin Cities. So I think to the panelists and the other Kenyans across the country, I just want to make sure that you understand, we, especially Kenyans here in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, I think increasingly we're getting together. We are more brothers and sisters than anything beyond that. And I can tell you that I'm so proud to be part of the Kenyan community here in Minnesota. And I hope the same is true. And I think I did receive a text message, I think from Zach Akuma down in Arizona, and they're telling us that the Kenyans down there are very united. We have a huge population of Kenyans in Texas. Happily, we have the two of you representing us. I think that's good news. Professor Ndiangu is a little bit lonely down in the South Coast, but we use technology to make sure that he shares some love with us. And then also, obviously, Professor Chirono, right, who is there with us. So let's do this. As we finish, guys, I'm sure there's a lot that we will talk about. This is the beginning of many more events to come. If you don't mind, let's go around the group and try to make closing statements. Obviously, there are people watching from across the states and others obviously watching back home. If you want to make a closing statement, and I want to start with you, Karen, as I thank you, and by the way, thank you and extend our sincere appreciation to all the Kwitu women. We appreciate what they're doing, and we're so happy to work with you. And let them know that KDRTV is a forum. We're very happy that we're providing a forum where we can exchange these kind of ideas. So, Karen, to you, closing statement.
Yeah, thank you. Let me take it out and first, thank you, Dr. Okari. I have come to love you at this moment because of what you stand for. And what do I say for Professor Gelono? Oh my God, I love you. And I thank you. I thank you because you touched my heart as a woman. And you made me feel like I can do even more than I can ever think. Dr. Robert Shuri, you brought me here. Diangui, you introduced me to Shuri. Opande, you're my brother. You make me laugh all the time. So thank you. Thank you, guys. We are all one. Closing, I want to say one thing. We are different in many ways. We are different in our tribes. We are different in culture. We are different in the groups that we stand for. But one thing that we are not different is we are one. No matter who you are, I just want us to go with this one thing, that we all are one and we present one thing. And when we come to realize that, and we have one goal, to bring humanity, to bring our community together, when we realize that is our goal, we will not fight, we will not rush to each other, we will just harmonize ourselves to do. When I mean to do is to play your part, because you never know. All of us, I didn't know Professor Jalono. Look at how it has spread. It's nature does. It brings people together. I didn't know Dr. Okari. Look at it. So the time comes, you find yourself belonging. You find yourself in a movement. And that is when you know that you're in the right way and you're doing the right thing. And that's all I ask. It is not about men, it's not about women, it's about us. And when we realize it's about us, ask me, and we go to us. Finally, I saw you all after me and Opande left, showing your patriotism. Hello, I'm right here. So I'm here, and at the same time, if I turn it around, it says Kwiru. So that says Kwiru is an organization that comes from Kenya. I thank you, everybody, and God bless you, and I love you all, and I'm happy to be here. What a wonderful Sunday I have. Thank you, Dr. Okari.
Love you back, and please extend our love to the entire Kwitu group. Tell them KDRTV and One Voice love you all. We really appreciate you. Thank you. And then now let's take again down in Texas. We have the young, good-looking, smart guy. The last time I said that, Wakil Opande, your closing statement. Is he muted?
We can hear him.
Okay.
He's muted.
All right. My apologies, Dr. Okari. I'm so sorry that, technology has taught us to be extra careful lest you be gossiping on the backdrop. So I tend to mute it. So sorry about that. But I wanted to say thank you to you. Thank you for your kind words. I also want to thank all the fellow distinguished panelists with whom I've said that I'm greatly honored because I'll be rubbing off of their greatness. Hopefully, it'll rub off of me. Now, quickly, before I give my closing statement, I think there's somebody, a viewer is asking a question, how do you become a member? I think the One Voice Consortium is a consortium, as it sounds, meaning it's a grouping of various organizations. I think my response would be wherever you are, if you feel like there is a particular organization that you wish to be a member of, then you can reach out. And there are many, from the local grassroots to regional to national. And so you can reach out to any one of the members who are here, excuse me, on the panel, and you can get information how to be a member. And it's very important that we encourage our members to be, our viewers to be members of organizations. It helps. We are not, mankind was never meant to be in isolation. We are very social human beings, and so we thrive where there are others around us. And as others have said in the past on this platform, we grow by helping each other, reaching out, lending a hand to a fellow brother and sister. And so we should be able to continue to do that. One of the things that I wanted to mention, I didn't get a chance to do so, is our diasporians' ability to participate in local civic engagements. We must not remain people who are just watching and standing by as things are happening. I know, Professor Gerono, you did mention that you bring your folding chair to the boardroom. And that should not only be in these organizations, but even in government. So therefore, we just had an election that we're still fighting. I'm not sure where it's going to end, but hopefully it all shall end well. But the point is, we do not fully engage. We do not fully participate in the civic process. I was very proud to know there were a few Kenyans who participated in the last elections here in the US from various jurisdictions within the country. And so what that means is we are part and parcel of this community where we live in, and we have resources, as all of us have said, in the various capacities that we hold, that we can be able to use to prosper as a group. Outside of that, of course, we are very deeply in love with our country, our motherland back in Kenya. And I think that's most of the time what the focus has been. That how do we help each other, and by extension, then help our country back home. So that's where we have this, and I'm delighted to be a part of this consortium and the organizations that I represent in this consortium. We always convey the messages, and I'm sure they're also all behind us as we find a way to get to be one. And we're also thankful to the US, the Kenya Embassy in the US, who have also been very supportive and encouraging us, because then, as they say, it makes it easier to communicate and to convey messages and to have one voice if we're under one umbrella. So we need to continue doing so. Thank you, all of you, for, I know sometimes it takes a lot of time out of our daily schedules in what we do, out of our family schedules, and other social engagements we have. But I think it's in my belief, we must live a purposeful life, meaning there has to be an ideal, a higher purpose for which we exist. And so if it's going to be that purpose is to help get our people together in this kind of a forum, then I shall feel very fulfilled if I'm called upon any day that I did what I could during my time to bring my people together. There's a lot we can do together as a people. We continue to pray for each other and encourage each other so that in the end, all of us, ourselves, our children, and our great-grandchildren, and those who shall come in the future, shall be saying, yes, there were people who laid the path for us, and that's why we are living and enjoying the fruits of their endeavor. So thank you very much, all the panelists. Thank you, KDRTV. I always look forward to your invites. Please continue to invite us and engage and get to meet wonderful panelists as we have done today. Thank you, and a wonderful Sunday to everyone, and happy Thanksgiving week as we begin the Thanksgiving week on this coming week on Monday. Thank you, and back to you, Dr. Okari.
You never disappoint. That I'll tell you. I know Karen, Cherono, Diangui, Shiuri, and Kebuato will agree. You never disappoint. But we love you. You are a jewel to our community. And I don't want to say this again because I said this in the last time you were here with Mweni. There is a bright future for you. I don't see why we don't see you in the next few years in the Supreme Court in Washington. And I really think you have all it takes to be there. Just hang in there. Sit around Professor Ndiangui. I think there is a bright future for you. We love you, Laban. Just hang in tight. And then,
thank you,
Professor Cherono. I don't know how much I can tell you, but I think Karen summed it up, and a lot of people, how much we appreciate you. Your closing statement. I don't want to say a lot of things. By the way, my daughters love you a lot. They watch you all the time. They say, that's Geronimo, I want to be like Geronimo. Good. Make your closing statement. And as you do so, please make an appeal to our sisters across the country.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's hard to follow a young man there, my brother, Panda, and my sister. Thank you so much, my sister. I just want to piggyback on what you said on serving in this country. And today being a Sunday, I want to share a testimony. I am here. I am a living example of a true survivor. And this is a message to my sisters out there. I don't know what you've been through, but if you look at me, I am a survivor of sexual assault. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. Actually was in a coma for a while. So I remember when I was on that bed, I said, God, if you help me to survive, if you help me to breathe one more time, if I wake up from this hospital and if I go home to go back to my children, I promise that I will pay back and I'll pay forward. So get up there, get up and keep moving. You know, I don't know what you've gone through, but I'm one of those who went through tough times, but I woke up and I moved on and I never looked back. Participating, I was actually blessed to serve as a commissioner on the status of women in this county. And that is actually the time that I was struggling. So I was really inspired by those women serving and being a voice as a commissioner on the status of women in this county, in my county here in North Carolina. I was inspired. So again, what I do and what motivates me to do now that my children are grown is to pay back, because the good Lord gave me one more chance to be alive. I don't know when he's going to take me, but when that time comes, I want him to say, well done, faithful servant. So when you see me, I'm just about the business of paying forward, paying back, and building, because I know this world is temporary. I am building. I'm ready to go and live an eternal life. So serve and serve this country. If you get any opportunity to do that. I was actually just blessed to get a project funded, and Dr. Opanda mentioned that again, serving Kenya. I work very closely with different organizations in Kenya, like the Catch Foundation, where we're working with the Ministry of Education and the KIE to incorporate health into the curriculum. I was actually just funded by the Kenya African Diaspora Scholars to work with Nairobi University to develop their School of Kinesiology as well as their Sports Institute. So those are opportunities that when you get an opportunity to pay back, I am about the business of paying back and paying forward. The key thing why I really liked about the One Voice is we work together. We've been so fragmented, but when we come together as one voice, I get some ideas of what are people doing? Where can I get the resources for my students, for myself, for the women, and for the organizations that I serve? So moving forward, I want to say, I don't know what you're going through, but I am really inspired by a quote by Malala, where it says, when the whole world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful. The whole world was silent when women were going through a lot. But when one voice steps up, the world becomes powerful. So be the one voice that steps up to serve humanity. And then my last one is the African proverb that says, you know, we all know that. It says, if you want to go quick, go alone. If you want to go far, get together. One voice, we're here together. I love being here with all of you. I am blessed. Have a wonderful Sunday. I love you back. I love you more. God bless you.
Well said, Professor Cherono. Just know that we love you back, and as well, send our love to your family, your two wonderful daughters. And recently, I just realized that somehow your relative, and I'll be talking to you about that later. But please send out to, especially to our international students. And I think that's an area that I really remember. My doctoral dissertation was all about international students, especially the Kenyans. Please send our love, and I think we really need to encourage our brothers and sisters across the country. We need to pay attention to them. Don't have even think what you did a few months ago is incredible. We thank you, and we encourage all our brothers and sisters across the country to look for these brothers and sisters. And I think that's exactly where some of them get wrong. So keep doing what you're doing, Professor Gerono. We love you. We love all you do. Thank you so much. And then now let's go to Professor Ndiangui. You know, Ndiangui, you know, not just me. Whenever you speak, we all listen. Your closing statement.
Oh my God, why do you put me last, Jeremiah? We had all these powerful people, my friend. Anyway, thank you so much. Every time we are in this forum, for me, I treat it like a learning moment. And what I heard from Colin, from Laban, from my sister Jerona, and of course from Dr. Shuri, it's a learning. And I'm so glad that I was able to have this moment that I can learn from all these amazing people. I wanted to finish by this. I really feel that the way we are coming together, we will win. Together we will win. Yes, Professor Gelono, if you want to go alone, I love your quote, I don't want to mess it up. But we will enjoy life together. There'll be challenges. You asked me a few times about challenges, Dr. Okali. Challenges are there, they're part of life. But don't internalize them. They are there to be overcome. And if you do not let the enemy inside destroy you, the enemy outside cannot destroy you. We can move on. And we are all there. In the midst of despair, sometimes, in the mountain of despair, there will be a stone of hope. Look for that stone of hope, as we were told by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We are always stronger together. And you said, I am so much alone here, Dr. Opade, Mr. Opade, Professor Gelono, Colin, all of you guys, calm down. It's better in Florida. It is warmer here, and we got a good group of people. I want to also to mention my colleagues, Professor Hassan. I saw he was logging in, and others. Thank you for the support. I don't feel alone because, like Professor Aydin, he's from Turkey. He has treated me, he's my brother, and others. They are all my brothers and sisters. They are people from China, from everywhere, even Americans here. And this is the thing I want to tell my people. Please integrate yourself with the local communities you are with. They will appreciate you more, and you appreciate each other more, and you learn from them too, and they'll learn from you. I enjoy being the chairman of the Mayor's Diversity Council, and I work with so many different kinds of people, and they've empowered me. Some of them have given money to help some kids in Africa. So if somebody benefits, why not? And I'm sure they benefit something. Laban, my brother, thank you for what you do. Colin, thank you so much for what you do. Sister Jelano, thank you. It's so empowering. And Robert Shirley, thank you. Ben and Jeremiah, you guys keep up the good work. We will win and we'll get together. And again, I want to join Laban and say to our embassy, it's never better time like what Dr. Mayo has done. He has joined us. We are his voice. I claim to be, I am the ambassador here. He may be the ambassador for all of us, but I am an ambassador. And one of these days, I want them down here also. We are a team together. And I'm just so proud. I'm honored to be part of this. I'm a simple guy, but I'm honored to be part of this. Let's keep up the good work. Gelono, let's keep up phase 2 of those children. They are our children. They make me very proud. Thank you so much.
I said, whenever you speak for all of us, and I want you to also know that we love you. You're not alone. We'll be calling you, texting you, make sure that everything is fine down there. And whenever you're in Minnesota, it's snowing outside. So if you want to come over here, enjoy the snow, it's fine. So you see, Karen is like, no, I don't want to come there. It's called Minnesota nice. The people up here are very nice, very welcoming, and we love to have you whenever you're here. So again, I want to thank you. I want to bring in a moment. I want to bring here Dr. Shuri to make a closing statement. But again, Karen, thank you on behalf of Kwitu. Please send our appreciation to them. My brother Laban Opande for the Lawyers Society. Please tell our lawyers, our brothers and sisters, we appreciate the great work you're doing, and I hope we'll be having you more in the future. Professor Cherono, I have no idea how much I can thank you, but just know that we love you. We appreciate all you're doing for our country. Keep raising that flag. We won't let you down. We'll make sure we push you even further high. And obviously, Professor Ndiangui from Florida, we love your insights, your perspective, and your wisdom. Thank you. And let the ambassador know we are looking forward to working with him very closely. And then now let's have Dr. Shuri. Dr. Shuri, if you could please come on, and it's your moment now. You're the man of the hour. You've worked tirelessly. Obviously,
Yes,
we thank you. If you don't mind.
you can see me?
Yes.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Okari. Thank you, the entire team at Kenya Diaspora Radio TV. Thank you, my co-conveners at Kenya Global Diaspora One Voice Consortium. Moving on together in One Voice has been our mission and vision, and we continue gathering more Kenyans supporting our vision. So again, thank you for everything that has been expressed here by all the conveners. And I know we are all together, and we will continue encouraging our brothers and sisters to be together in one voice so that we can be able to walk far. There was a question about how to become a member. You become ours is a member organization, so you have to get together in your membership and approach us as One Voice. We have our website, which is www.globalddfoundation.com, where you can be able to write to us an email seeking or expressing interest to become a member of us. You can also call me on my phone, 614-822-0958, in the event that you want to get to know more about One Voice. So again, thank you, the entire team. And moving on, there are many things that we have planned. In fact, our partnership with the KDRTV will allow some of our One Voice members to also make presentations here in the weeks and months coming. There'll be a program for at least one person from One Voice or a member organization to make a presentation here. We are also planning to have perhaps even discussions from a panelist coming in at Kenya Diaspora Radio TV to make presentations. So, and even debates that are going to be featured here under this particular platform. We are in the months coming planning to have an invitation for Professor PLO Lumumba to make a tour here in US next year in July 2010. In fact, he has kindly agreed to be hosted by Kenya Diaspora Radio TV on December 6th. So again, we are just letting your viewers, Dr. Okari, know ahead of time that this great Kenyan icon will be your guest in the months coming, and also other distinguished guests that we are planning to bring on this platform. So winding up, I would want to thank you and thank everybody who has participated in this, and we work all together under one voice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Shiuri. By the way, I want to tell you that whenever I talk to you, you exemplify humility. You're a very humble man. I want to thank you on behalf of KDRTV, my partner, Ben tirelessly from behind the scenes to make sure that this broadcast is live and presented as best as is. We want to thank you for what you're doing, and obviously extend our appreciation to the entire crew at One Voice Consortium. I think this is great for the Kenyans here in the diaspora, especially in North America. I think it's time that we start working together. Just to clarify that going forward, we have an agreement between KDRTV and One Voice that we're going to be working to make sure that we tell the Kenyan story in the very best way possible. And then, as you, Dr. Shiuri mentioned, for our viewers, in 2 weeks' time, that's exactly 2 weeks from now, we'll be hosting Professor PLO Lumumba. Will be here live. So if you have any questions and thoughts on how we should engage with that great son of our land, please let us know, and we'll be happy to do so. And that's just the beginning of very many keys will be here, and different discussions around major issues or factors that are affecting the Kenyans here in the diaspora, as well at home. So we appreciate that. And again, next week, same time at 10:20 Central Time, we'll be having an interesting discussion with one group. This group is based here in Minnesota, the African Women Association. I think you see there on the screen, Elizabeth Medigi, Charles Maisiba, Dr. Choti is in the East Coast, and their president, Ms. Bessie Mairula. They'll be here talking about domestic violence. I know, Karen Muigai, you're doing incredible work with Quito, and I think this is one partner organization that you can work with, and as well work with KDRTV to make sure that we try to limit the challenges that we have, especially at family level. So again, next week on Sunday, same time, this at 10:20 Central Time. Feel free to join us here on KDRTV to talk about how we mitigate domestic violence issues here in the diaspora. And also 2 weeks' time, we'll be talking to Patrick Lumumba. So can't thank enough all the panelists. Great work today. Again, I want to thank you, Labado Pande from Texas. Great work with the Lawyers Association here in the United States. I also want to thank Karen Muigai on behalf of Quito, the Kenya women in the United States. I think you're doing incredible work. Thank you very much. We love you all. And of course, I want to thank Professor Chirono for taking time to be here again. And I think she's been again looking forward to working with her in the future. Peter Ndiangwe as well. And lastly, thank enough Robert Shiuri for all the work you're doing. And I'm really delighted that going forward, we're going to do our very best to really tell the Kenyan story in the most beautiful way. And I think that what you see on the screen is exactly what we're seeing. Kenyans from different parts of Kenya and Kenyans in the diaspora representing different states and different organizations. But all we're saying now, as we finish, we look forward to working together. As Professor Ndiangui finishes taking picture, are you done with that? Okay, thank you. And I think that represents the faith. If you guys, if you don't mind saluting all our viewers like this as we finish, if you don't mind, please. Okay, thank you, Carla, and thank you, Kenyans. We love you to Nwapenda. Thank you. That's it. We'll see you again next week on Sunday. Thank you.